Good morning, Hope Church, and welcome again to another edition of our daily devotion. This morning, I'm going to lead us through Psalm 10, verse 14 to be specific. And I find it encouraging in this time where it's a psalm talking about affirming that God sees our pain. It reads, verse 14, "But you, God, see the trouble of the afflicted. You consider their grief and take it in hand. The victims commit themselves to you. You are the helper of the fatherless." This is another psalm of David, and David, before he comes to these beautiful words and comforting words about God who sees, the chapter starts a little bit on the downside with a question: "Why, Lord, do you stand far?" What David, a reality that David finds himself in, is that he is surrounded by enemies who seem to be prospering, who threaten his life and his livelihood. And then it seems as if God is not intervening in the situation. And you may see that you might find yourself at this time that you may feel as if you are surrounded by your enemies who seem to be thriving, who are mocking to you. Or it's not even enemies or people, but it's a situation that you surround yourself, whether it be this coronavirus that is definitely threatening our lives or our livelihood. Or as I said, sometimes it could be problems that were there way before this coronavirus, and problems that they are still gonna be there even if this coronavirus is a thing of the past, that they're gonna be there. And you find yourself asking, where is God? Instead, of this time, we've seen from Christians and from people outside the church asking, where is your God in all this thing, when so many people are dying, so many people have been sick and suffering, and the consequences around it. And David is in that light where he feels, first of a situation that it is dire, that there is so much pain, that he may even think that God is sovereign. But yes, where is he? Why is he not intervening? Does he care about my situation? And as I've been through the space, I remember my time when I was at Bible college, where I understood that God is sovereign, is in control, but I also understood that God is sovereign over good things in my life, but also bad things. And I remember that bringing me discomfort. I'm like, so what then? Can I come to God? Can I pray to God and bring my problems to Him? If He's the one who's in control over them, even the pains in my life. Yet I hope in this psalm, what David says in 14, helps us to see truth about God, that where is God in our pain? Where is God when things in our lives are just not in the right place? Where it seems as if we're constantly under threat, that trouble is what surrounds us. And David, the first thing that he says, "But you, God, see the trouble of the afflicted." That's saying that God is the one that whatever situation you find yourself, the situation I find myself, that God sees it. Not only saying that God sees it and does nothing about it, but His Bible says you consider their grief and take it in hand. So God, whatever pain that we may find ourselves in, that we may know, saying God does not only see it, but God is the one who considers His pain, who considers our pain, and He's going to act on it. And that is a comfort to me sometimes, where you can be so sometimes embarrassed about bringing our problems to God. You're thinking, my problem is small. People have big problems. Many people have loved ones who have died or who are dying. And you seem as if your problems are small things compared to that. And you feel like, is God really going to come and take and consider my pain and take me serious? This is something that it's even worthy for me to come and take it to God. But for me, He's saying that whatever pain or situation or trouble that you are feeling, that when you bring it to God, that God does not disregard, doesn't say that this is pet. He considers it and take it in his hands. And then the psalmist story says this, says, the victims commit themselves to you. And the reason I think the second part is it does the second part why the victim does that those are victims commit themselves to God. It says, you are the helper of the fatherless. Fathers, I assume, is an expression talking right about those who are vulnerable, those who cannot help themselves. Saying that if you find yourself in a situation, that God, He says He is your helper. He's the person you can run to for rescue in the situation that you're in. And what I like about it, whether being a song that I was listening to, or even Revelation 21, when God is talking about the New Jerusalem 21 verse 4, and then there's this, it says this, that He will wipe away every tear from our eyes, and there will be no more mourning, pain, death. And the comforting thing to me that it's not as much saying is, yes, it is comforting to hear that our tears will be wiped, that there will be no death, there will be no mourning. But the thing that brings me more comfort is that God is the one who's going to be doing it. There's surety, there's certainty, there's comfort that no, it will happen one day. And here even the psalmist is saying that even today, if we feel as if saying we are in trouble, we are in pain, that we find ourselves in a bad place, that we can come to God, and God is our helper. He sees our affliction and He considers it and does not disregard it. So whatever situation I feel that you are finding yourself, whether it's been long hanging over you, that do not think that God does not see your pain, but have confidence to come to Him, and He will help us. Amen.